Hello there, and welcome to this session doing some tactics on Lichess.org in specifically the King's Indian defense for black. We are doing tactics after the tactics, which means we solve a tactic and then figure out what is our conversion strategy once we've won the game. How do you win after you've won? So for example, here there is bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes, rook takes, bishop f6, which is why we had to take the bishop first, skewering the two rooks, right? Rook comes back, or rook a1, bishop takes, so either we get a position where there is a rook on d4, or we get a position where there's a rook on a1. The most active variation there is probably rook d4, but I'm not convinced it's actually the best one because my activation strategy is going to be rook a8, pinning this pawn to the rook. Let's say bishop c4 there. I'd love to play c6, but unfortunately there's a revealed check. So I'm going to just calmly bring my king to the center, and this is why I'm not so convinced that rook d4 is actually the best move in that position, because my king is going to gain time against the rook. In addition to the pin and everything. So I think one of the best ways is to play this position is actually just bring the rook back, go back to a1, and put your bishop on c4 as white. But my plan remains the same. I'm going to bring a rook to d8, and I am going to march into the center with my king. But I don't have an immediate c6. I'm going to play against that center pawn, and maybe against the king, and I'm going to push my own pawns in order to queen. I don't see a lot of counterplay, but yeah, just being careful not to get some sort of revealed check, and to be aware of white's own tactical possibilities after something like rook d8 and bishop c4. This is the tactic after the tactic. Let's go ahead and play it. Boom, 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 bomb. Rook ad1, bishop here, rook takes. Rook d8 is the top move. Bishop c4 is not given. King g2, king f2, no, king g2, and now we're just gonna go to the center of the board. Even that here, and I'm guessing that the king comes in. Yep. And now white has sort of succeeded in isolating this pawn, but at the price of putting their rook on the back rank and getting their king cut off. Nice. This looks like more like a Benoni structure than a King's Indian. I understand that there are tactical opportunities here, but I'm not certain how to exploit them. This seems the most obvious move in the position, but I'm not certain how to get at e4 correctly. So knight e4 and knight e4 is the problem. If you had knight e4, like right, this knight e4, if this takes, then you have bishop takes. If queen takes, then this drops. And if knight takes, then this drops. But the problem is this. So if you add this into the mix, right? And you take, well, now they do have knight takes because there's rook takes. So I'm not really certain what's going on here. I'm going to play b4 just to sort of clarify things really quick. Okay, so in that position, now do I have this? That makes things a little bit more clear. So knight takes d5 was something that I saw, but not something that I... Knight takes here, pawn takes, I would have rook takes. And if knight takes, then I have queen takes. So knight takes, pawn takes, let's just say that they ignore it. They can't ignore it because I have two pieces. So knight takes rook here, there's here. Rook takes here. So let's say this line, this is the line. In that position, I'm probably bringing my knight here. To come back, I want this square. I also want to bring my other knight to f6 and maybe my other knight to c5. I actually really like knight c5 actually. Okay, so I see a couple moves for the continuation. We'll go for it. Knight takes. It thinks the pawn is best, and then we have rook takes e3. And yes, as mentioned, I think, queen takes c4 seems unnecessary. Knight c5 seems perfectly manageable. The point being that both of these are going to drop as well, right? But yeah, this seems unnecessarily complicated. I would rather just play knight c5 and say that I'm doing fine. All right, let's do one more. That's the line. Are there any other moves? Very interesting structure. Somehow white black was never able to get in this. This looks like it was a bayonet. Huh. Okay. All right, so rook takes, pawn takes, bishop check, king over, queen takes c7. I'm threatening rook d8 with tempo. Queen should probably... I'm also threatening to take here. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Yeah, but I am threatening rook d8 with tempo. So maybe the queen should play queen c2. And then after queen c2, so in that line I played rook takes. I have a queen on c2, I have a bishop here. This knight is still here. Bishop, king, queen, queen c2. Let's say rook c8. Rook c1, just to be fancy. I think b6 is doable. I do still have my light squared bishop. It's not too weakening. And it sort of keeps everything together. And I kind of like my bishop is there. Maybe my pieces don't actually belong there. Maybe I should just play h5. h5. g4. So let's take king over. Queen takes c7. Queen c2 is one of the top moves. And then, okay, bishop here is a great move. I really like that. So again, that tempo, and also in sort of installing the pin. Interesting. They're willing to give up the exchange. Rook here, and then, yeah, installing the pin. And then what does, so the pin, and now unpin, and we're up even more material. Cool. All right, let's pause the session there. I think I figured out how to convert that one successfully, even though I did cheat a little bit. I took on f7 just to give myself that additional step, but that's all right. Thanks so much for being here with me today, and until the next time, good luck on your own chess journey. Bye for now.